Hey guys, it's Tyson Johnson joining you for another Six Pack Dad Tribe podcast episode. These are some of my favorite events is cherry picking some of our very favorite customers who have really shown up and have a story worth telling. I'm so excited to introduce Mitch Whiting, who I would call almost as much a friend as a customer. So Mitch, say hello.
Hello, hello. So I feel the same way, Tyson. It's been so fun to get to know you and to be uplifted by you. And it really has it's become a quick friendship, even though I hired you as a coach. It quickly turned into that, and I'm just grateful.
You've introduced some special people in your life to some of my family members, and it's just been sort of this circle of giving. And I didn't necessarily anticipate that 6 months ago, but just grateful for your generosity and who you are. So, well, if you don't mind, kick it off. Tell us anything you would love just our listeners to know, like what do you do professionally? You're a family man, just any of the good stuff, background info.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm Mitch Whiting. I help high performing leaders, family-centered leaders who have obtained what they thought would feel like success, only to find that they are more stressed out than ever and struggling to be present with their family. And what they want most is not more achievement, more success, more money, more fame, more recognition. But what they really want most is to be able to be happy with themselves and deeply present with their family. I think most people are chasing time freedom, which is you make enough money and then you can have enough freedom and flexibility to do what you want, when you want, with the people you want. And many of my clients, including myself, got there only to realize that there was something more we wanted and that we were still spending more time in a suffering state than we wanted to. And so I help people get true freedom, which is better than time freedom. And that is the ability to sit in the peace and silence of your own soul without any need for escape or distraction. So I'm just all about being present and truly healing the things that create suffering in our lives. And I help my clients to do the same. And that was my story as well.
Yeah, this is, I guess, sort of just side note, but you come from the corporate world professionally, correct?
Yes.
I'm sure this is a an hour long podcast session on this question alone, and I'm sure you've shared it many times because you're well connected in the business community. But give us the 30 or 60-second summary of your pivot from the corporate world to a professional coach and how long you've been doing that.
Yeah, I loved my experience in the corporate world. And part of my experience was creating a lot of success. And I think my past self would have said I was living my dream. And I ended up at the doctor's office one day as a new patient with my wife. And so she was with me. We were both new patients. And the nurse said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how stressed are you? And I thought about all the things I was grateful for, like the executive jet I was flying, flew on at work, the service that I was able to do in my church, the rock climbing team, youth team I was able to coach locally, working for the largest company in the world, Walmart at the time, in a job that many people take 12 to 15 years into their career, and married to my best friend, have my first child, like all the things from the outside looking in looked awesome. And so I was like, I'm probably like a 2 out of 10 in my stress, just feeling grateful. And my wife looked at me and she looked at the nurse and she looked back at me totally lovingly, but also very bold. And she said, "Are you kidding me? You're like a 9." And I was so humbled and it woke me up and I was embarrassed in that moment in front of the nurse. Like, man, how unaware am I? And I realized for me that there's a lot of things I realized, but one of the things I realized is that for high achieving people, gratitude can get in our way. And it sounds like the weirdest thing to say, but gratitude gets in our way when it keeps us from experiencing a higher form of gratitude called abundance. Gratitude gets in our way when it keeps us from admitting that we want and need more from life, that we want more than just success, but we also want peace. And this happened for me when I finally realized that performance doesn't deliver on peace. And so abundance is to be grateful for everything you have, but with arms wide open for all that God still has for you, which is much more than success and achievement. And so, anyway, I went on this long journey of learning. I actually started studying neuroscience after 20 years of obsession with self-help. My dad had me listening to Tony Robbins, Dale Carnegie since I was 10 years old. He would pay me to read books, and I became obsessed. And after 20 years of seeking truth and self-help, I still found myself in a 9 out of 10 stress life. And so I found answers, and my life took off in ways that were my real dreams. And even further, my wife and I found that our dreams had dreams. We didn't know that like life could continue to get better when you focus on what matters most, which is ultimately what I call the journey of becoming. That the process by which we become, and my clients and I, is by rewiring our brains for permanent change, to be free from the hours that we spend in a suffering state so we can simply be present everywhere we are. Where everywhere we go physically, we're mentally and emotionally in that same place, and it allows us to perform at an even higher level, but more importantly, be present. And so I started helping people do the same thing that I had figured out in my own life. And one client turned into two clients, turned into three clients, and I found out, oh my gosh, a lot of people feel the way I do. And so I started making more money in 10 hours a week than I was in 40 hours a week doing this accidental entrepreneur thing. And I decided to just leave my corporate career behind, and so grateful for it. It was awesome. But there's a deeper purpose, and in your words, you're doing your life's work. I feel the same, that I'm doing my life's work now. And so it's been beautiful.
Well, man, we could probably cut the recording right now, and I bet that if a busy professional dad is listening to this, there's something to be introspective about. Just so thanks for already adding value, and just admire your courage.
Yeah,
So
let's dive into what you've done for me. This is why we're here, and I really want to talk about that.
let's go back to like March of this year. So 6 months ago, let's say. You're a high performing professional, you've pivoted, now you're an entrepreneur and doing all that stuff. What was like going on in your life at that point, maybe health wise, that prompted you to explore us and ultimately join us and stick with us?
Yeah, I've worked with two other fitness coaches as well as a running coach, and fitness has been an important part of my life. Before learning how to rewire my brain and get my time back from suffering, I really struggled because I spent 10 years trying to exercise consistently and kept burning out every few days to few weeks. But I figured that out, and I for the last probably 3 years I've been consistent in exercise, and that's mostly been running. And I found myself wanting to have a certain level of leanness in my life in addition to like cardiovascular health. My heart is amazingly healthy, but I just couldn't lose the last few pounds. And I have interviewed even more coaches than I had worked with, and just felt like, man, they're close, but I just, something just feels off. Like I just could never find the answers. And good people doing good things and helping people. But when I heard your little webinar thing, I was like, holy crap, this guy has all of the truths that I have hard fought to win and to learn and to discover in one place. And it resonated so deeply. I'm like, this is my guy. And I was so excited just because I've worked with so many people. Also, my dad has been like, I don't think he's missed a day of exercise in over 20 years. And so he's been an incredible example. And we've always talked about fitness and the answers that we're finding, the things that we laugh about that we got into and thought were the answers were just silly hacks and silly things, and then the real things. And you had it all, and bonus things like the satiety index, like so many things that even I had not heard of. And so, yeah, I was just like, I want to lose those last few pounds, and I want to be in the best shape of my life. And as funny and silly as it really sounds, I want to be a six-pack dad, and I do want to be a part of a tribe that feels the same and is able to do that. And so when I was on my first sales call with your team, I was like, okay, this guy, which was Tyson Hyatt, he's lost 60 pounds. And then I get into the group, and like the mentor of the group that I was in, like he had lost 40 pounds and kept it off. Both of these had kept it off for years. And then I'm hearing all these people that have been in the tribe for years. Like it was beyond just the coaching they got. They're like, kind of like, I'm here for life. And I'm like, wow, like people are really here for a lifestyle and have been living that lifestyle. And then your story and everybody that I've met in the tribe is a product of the product. And that was something that I haven't found anywhere else, which I found one-on-one coaches, but I don't get to meet their clients. I don't get to see their true success stories. But I was like now in a community of people that for years have the results that I wanted. And so it's just exciting for me to finally find, and I've told you this, but I really not just believe, like I know and this is a bold statement, but I fully believe and know that you are the best fitness coach in the world. And that's such a bold statement to say, but it's like I have been in this space trying to find answers for so long. And you have, when you say it's your life's work, it has made me emotional because it's like, thank goodness that you have devoted so much time and energy to this because it's impacted my life and it's impacting so many people. And it's a beautiful work to be doing in your life.
Well, Mitch, gosh, thank you for the kind words. We will return the favor here in a minute because you've definitely got some let's call them Mitch isms that are worth repeating. But before we go there, and you just sharing some insights because I know you have a lot to share that you've been through. If you don't mind, just anything you're comfortable sharing in terms of results, scale
Yeah.
victories, non-scale victories. You're like a Swiss Army knife. An elite runner, prior wrestler. You're a rock climber. You're a performance coach. You're an author. You do all this stuff, but as it relates to your health, anything just for context, the last 6 months working with us, what kind of where you're at and stuff you want to celebrate for a second?
Yeah. When I joined the tribe 6 months ago, I was, according to the scale, um, what was it? I think it was 16% body fat. No, 14% body fat. I had been losing half a pound a week leading up to joining the program, and I was 16% body fat in December, and then I joined in March. So I'd lost 6 pounds leading up to the program, and that was done by making a decision that with my ADHD brain, I was done with sugar because it dysregulates my mind and makes me want social media, makes me want to not do hard things. Like I was just like, I'm just done with this sugar thing. And at the same time, I was like, I want to just eat whole foods. I didn't want to eat processed foods anymore because I found that it also dysregulates me personally. And so that really helped. But then I got to the program and I started like actually tracking, which is something I was resistant to. If you remember when I joined, I'm like, okay, I'm excited to join the program and I'm not going to track. You guys are like, you are going to track and we can do it for a short time and then we can move on and you can create, more of an advanced lifestyle, which is what I'm experiencing now. And it's awesome. But I was at 14% body fat, and then within 10 weeks, I was at 7.3% body fat on the same scale, which was the in-body scan at the gym. And maybe more realistically, it was like 9%, based on like pictures of different, but like drastic improvement, like 8 to 9% body fat, which meant I was completely shredded, which is something I've been wanting to say for over a decade and trying to do for over a decade. And so that felt so awesome and building strength every day in the gym. And that's a big piece is that I actually learned to love lifting weights. I can run forever. I love running. I think, again, with ADHD, it just like regulates me. I love it. And lifting weights has been just not as fun, but now it really is. And I think I found just simple exercises with your help and a process of where it's just actually not blood, sweat, and tears in the gym. It's actually pretty chill. Like it's like I'm doing my reps, I'm resting in between. It's nothing intense, nothing crazy. It's short, it's sustainable, and it's enabled me to not only lift but also run and not have to dedicate my whole life to the gym and become a gym rat. And so that's been really helpful. But yeah, I got shredded. And then on the back end of this program, I had some bad form. I think it ended up being bursitis, the bursa sac in my shoulder joint is inflamed, which just happens. Injury is just a part of fitness. Like it's like way better to have like a small injury because you're being intentional about your health than medical bills and, disease and all the things that come from not. So I think sometimes I'm like, man, I shouldn't be having injuries and like challenges if I'm being this intentional and healthy. And it's like, actually, they're just small injuries and challenges compared to not being able to play with your grandkids, not being able to be active with your kids, not being able to, right, get sleep because your body's, not functioning. And so I have been shifting gears now. So I've fallen in love with the gym. I've lost the weight. And now I am training for a 205-mile relay race with six guys. So between the six of us, we're running 34 miles, 35 miles each as a part of a relay. And for me, that means actually carrying a little bit more weight I'm changing my macros, having significantly more carbs so that I have glycogen, sugar stores, right, for energy on these long endurance runs. And that's what's really good about this is it's allowing me to let go really for the first time after getting the six pack of needing the six pack. And it's really good for me emotionally and mentally to be like, okay, I got the six pack. And what I really want at the end of the day is, of course, to be lean and healthy. I am lean and healthy. I'm probably like 11, 12, probably 12% body fat now. And those 4 pounds are the difference between having a faint six pack and an absolutely shredded six pack. And it's like, I'm finally letting go of that, right? And realizing like I just ran 12 miles this morning and I'm going to go rock climb with my family as soon as we get off this call. And that's awesome. That's awesome. And I can just be grateful for my body and the way it's working and what it allows me to do instead of being so caught up in the scale. And this is stuff that you guys were teaching me all along, but my brain was just like six pack, six pack. I got to get the six pack, and it was good in the sense that I learned the skills to do it, and I'm living a healthier lifestyle than I was, and I'm more grateful for my body and what it can do than ever before now.
So let me pause for a quick second on the aesthetics, the six pack. For those who are listening, as you probably can tell, fitness, as Mitch has shared, is not the center of Mitch's life. I would, if I'm putting words in your mouth, I would say
Yeah, no,
God,
it's true.
family, faith, providing quality time. That is, but that being said, so many of our listeners, not all of them, but a lot of them are what we might call skinny fat. And I'm looking at your before and after pictures right now, and talk about a textbook, quote unquote, perhaps skinny fat to just absolutely shredded. And Mitch and I, or Keenan and I, your coach, we've smiled a lot as we've been coaching you the last 6 months because um, one of the things you've shared, Mitch, that I so admire and we now use more and more with our customers is you have said, forget about results, fall in love with the process. And when we look at like consistency and execution, um, we don't necessarily recommend that our customers go off sugar or eat nothing but whole
Yeah.
foods, but certainly open to that. It's worked for you. But as I think about what's allowed you to 14% to 7%, I'm looking at the photos that it aligns. I think it was how consistent you have been with the process, and you've had the discipline to just trust the process. And it was that daily falling in love, sleep quality, water, proteins, and then the results just kind of came. Is there anything else you could maybe share about when we just talk about like this journey so far, and then there's more I'm sure you'll want to share, but that truth of falling in love with the process,
Yeah.
detaching oneself from the result? Most professionals are horrible at doing that with weight loss.
Mhm. Yeah. And yes, what I have found is that for me, not for everybody, when I set a goal, I get too attached to it. And it starts to get me, it's like a good thing, but it's 1 or 2 degrees off, right? If you're 1 to 2 degrees off on an airplane on your path, you'll end up like miles and miles, even hundreds of miles off from your destination, intended destination. And I feel like when we get too focused on a goal, it's easy to start doing things for the wrong reasons or burning out, right? Which is what a lot of professionals, including my past self, experienced. And when I commit to a winning process, is what I would add. Because I've committed to other people's processes, but the six pack dad tribe is a winning process because it's all based in like truth and like good, healthy lifestyle principles. And there's no hacks, there's no tricks. And like you mentioned, sleep, water, protein, movement, steps, and exercising, right? In the gym, right? Lifting some heavy weights. So simple, it works. And it just comes down to being consistent. And so committing to a winning process and just saying, like, this is what I do and getting excited about it. But it's having the community that's such a big thing. It's like we can tell people just like, hey, here you post it online, right? The answers are everywhere. Everybody knows the answers to health at some level, like the fundamentals. But it's like for me, having you as a one-on-one coach, having Keenan as a one-on-one coach. I mean, two one-on-one coaches. What other program offers that? That was amazing. Plus a one-on-one mentor who also leads a group of people who are doing the work alongside me, and we can talk to each other and we share wins and we share challenges in the Marco Polo group. And every time that I Marco Poloed you guys, like it was like a 5 to 10 minute, like very in depth, very caring, very generous response. And at first it was heavier. We were going back and forth. And then now it's like, we hardly talk because I'm on my way. I'm like, the eagle has left the nest and I'm flying the little baby chick that's flying on its own now. And I don't need you to push me as much. And so, yeah, I think just the way that you've put the fundamentals together in a way that is simple and easy and sustainable and allowed me to just trust that it's the right process. Because one, everybody's getting results from it around you. But then two, because I've studied for over a decade these things, and I had never found one place that had it all until now, plus the community, plus the coaching. It's like I just believe that it's not just possible in this program, it's inevitable to get the results when you commit to the process. The process works and it's sustainable.
Again, very, very kind. And how neat that you had already been paying the price with past coaching, and your dad is a great example that it could continue the Whiting health legacy, and
Mhm.
just feeling like all of your past efforts weren't failures, but actually led to a pretty firm foundation, and then just stacking on a few other things and some structure and accountability. And in our opinion, the snowball was already rolling down the mountain. We just kind of kept kicking it a little bit, to your credit.
And there's beautiful distinctions. Like we don't think we have enough time to talk about all the answers that you gave me that were personal to exactly what I needed. Like I remember I've been trying to lose weight for so long, like just the last few pounds, right? And I was talking to Keenan about body fat percentage and the ideal body fat percentage that I wanted, and he broke down body fat percentage in a way that was very simple. It almost makes me feel silly to say it out loud that I didn't think about this myself. But a percentage is a ratio, which means it's your body fat, the amount of pounds of body fat compared to the amount of pounds in your total body. And so if you don't lose any fat and you increase muscle, then your weight goes up in the denominator and the numerator stays the same. In other words, you cannot lose fat and gain muscle and your body fat percentage goes down. And so for me, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have to be like, get the scale down, get the scale down, get the scale down for the rest of my life. Instead, I can get this scale down by living a healthy lifestyle, but not have to be like a bodybuilder that's like has no energy, they're zapped, they're angry, they're frustrated, they have other complications in their actual functional life just to look a certain way, to perform a certain way. I can actually get to just a really sustainable leanness and build muscle, and my body fat percentage will go down. That's a beautiful thing that really did change my life because I could stop looking at the scale like it's got to go down and be like, it's going up. Awesome. I'm building strength and I'm building muscle, and the number isn't the answer. It's not. It's a part of the picture and it helps us to track and to report results and to be accountable. But yeah, little things like that are so simple, but when truly understood, really open up a big difference in the journey.
Yeah. So, well, and Keenan, to his credit, I mean, part of it is sort of his background, like former Division I college athlete, and then he literally was a part of the strength and conditioning coaching team for Utah State, and got a bachelor's in kinesiology. So it's like all of it. It's sort of his life's
He's an
work as
expert.
well. Yeah, and so most professionals are an expert at something, but they just haven't had a chance to become experts with their health yet.
Hmm.
Um, so, but to your credit, Mitch, I mean, even with all your professional success, you're humble and coachable, which is this interesting dichotomy. And so you had ears to hear and apply it, which is awesome.
I think because I trusted you too. Like it's so much easier to take advice from someone who has been living it for over 2 decades and has an entire team that works for him that has also been living it for years and has all the clients in the community that also have the results and are getting more results. It's like, who else am I going to listen to? It's like I might be humble, but man, it's easy to be humble when when you trust the person that you're following. So you made it easy.
Thank you. So as you think about where you're going from here. You got this incredible race. If we could talk about intuitive eating, I'm just curious what else is on your mind as you think about perhaps others not in the tribe or maybe friends or family that listen to this who are inspired by who Mitch is and they themselves want to improve their health, like other just lessons, insights that's whether it relates to the tribe or not that you might be able to pass on to help them because I know you're all about giving. You're a BYU alumni, enter to learn, go forth to serve. That's just who you are. So
Yeah, I for me, I am doing this ultra marathon relay with friends in 3 weeks, and I am rock climbing a lot with my kids and my wife. And I am then sup those are like lifestyle activities for me that I love so much. And I now also enjoy the gym. And so I've created a plan with Keenan, my coach in your on your team, that allows me to supplement just 2 days a week for 30 minutes each in the gym to supplement what my body doesn't get from rock climbing or running. So that's fun. Now that I enjoy the gym, it's just now like a supplementation to the lifestyle that I really love, which is spending time running, often with friends, rock climbing with my family. So I'm active with people that I love, doing things that light me up, while having all around fitness because of the gym supporting me. I'm also going to continue to eat well. And also, I had Taco Bell last week. That was good for me, like with some friends on a fly fishing trip in Montana. And so I'm going to just keep living the lifestyle. And I feel that I'm here to stay. It's been 6 months of living this way, and it just feels natural. And I've been getting 10 to 15,000 steps every day. Haven't missed. Like it's just maybe missed one day in the last 6 months. It's just a very natural. My wife now does it too, and that's been cool to see the changes in our family as a whole. But we walk together at night, and that's amazing to just have the conversations together and to be active instead of just sitting on the couch. It's just we're doing the same thing. We're talking to each other, but we're moving. Anything that I would like to share with friends and family, I mean, I try to tell everybody to work with you, and I wish I was even better at articulating it because everybody I would tell if I was really good at it would say, okay, sign me up today, right? And I just don't think people understand like the value of fixing your health now and not waiting another week, not waiting another month, not waiting decades. And especially if cost is the worry, it's like I don't think we're wrapping our mind around the actual cost of medical bills in future years that come from not taking care of yourself. And so cost is it actually saves you a lot of money. And I'm not just saying that to get people to work with you. Like it's a real cost that we just pretend isn't there because we all are optimistic like, "Oh, I'm good. I'm going to be healthy." But it's like, but if we're not living the habits and we're not living the lifestyle, we won't be healthy. But then just the price of like I guess the value of seeing yourself as worth investing in, I think is a big thing that so many people struggle with, where it's like you can spend money on a truck or you can spend money on vacations, you can spend money on others. Like if your spouse or one of your kids comes up to you and says, "Hey, I want to invest in a fitness coach," most people will be like, "Yes, do it. Like that's so great. I'm so excited for you. Like I support you." But then when it comes to themselves, they're like, "Oh, I can't spend that money on me." Like this weird thing that people experience when it's like, man, the most selfless thing that you can do is to become your greatest self and invest in yourself because it has allowed me to. I mean, my wife sent you a Marco Polo thanking you, if you remember that. I'm sure I know you do. And she was just like sending a picture of me in the kitchen, like cleaning the whole kitchen. Like this program has done so much more for me than health. Like I am just more active. I want to move more. I'm cleaning the house more. I'm like, it's just really amazing to feel confident and energized from enough sleep, from hydration, from eating good foods, from moving my body. Like now, if I go a day without exercise, I feel emotionally it drags me down. And I'm like, I used to live that a lot. And I didn't even know because it becomes your norm, and you don't know how good it is until you start moving and hydration and sleep and enough protein and not being hungry and not needing to binge food because you're starving because you've only eaten carbs. Like really it's just, I could go on and on, but I would just say, hire you. And again, it's not a sales pitch. Like, it's just, I want everybody that I know and love to reclaim their health so that they can be who they are full time.
A lot of our listeners might recognize the name Patrick Kieran. And for those who don't, that's okay. He's just this phenomenal human being. Mitch, I'm sure you know who he is.
Yeah.
But he came and visited St. Louis a few months ago, and I was present at that. And as you were talking, your words actually reminded me of his words. And he travels the world. He's just a big time influencer for people to live their best life from a gospel context. And he started talking about health, funny enough. And he said, God wants you to show up as your best self right now so that you can influence the lives that God needs you to influence. And when we're neglecting our health, when we're eating poorly, when we're not exercising, we can't show up as our best self, and it harms us. And I just found that to be such a meaningful, this, dieting and fat loss pills and just the fads and the noise. It's like, no, there's such a deeper purpose. This is a journey of becoming and of service and of love of family and a family legacy and just feeling like I have good habits. And right now, today, I offer my best self to the world out of service. And so anyway, Mitch, I it takes a strong man to do what you have done and to live the kind of life that you're living. And we're grateful for your trust and your confidence, and to consider you a friend. And anything else you might want to share, just kind of as a parting thoughts here before we wrap up?
Just grateful for you. A big thank you. Thanks for helping me learn the tools collectively in a place and have the community to make it a lifestyle. It's just a gift that for the rest of my life, like it's gonna affect my kids. It's already affecting my wife. Like it's affect and my kids too. I put my he just turned 6 this week, but he's 5 years old. I put him to bed and he goes, "Dad, I didn't exercise today." And I'm like, you don't exercise every day. You're 5. Like it's not a thing. And I'm like, and it, but he sees me do it, and he just picks that up, and he just under. And last night it was his birthday, and we were at this sushi restaurant. And he starts walking around the store, and I said, "What is he doing?" to my wife, and she's like, "He said he's getting his steps in," and we're just laughing at like this little boy who's just like, "I'm gonna go get some steps," just because he watches us live this active lifestyle, and so from such a young age to have that foundation and to for that to be normalized for him, I'm excited to see what it does for generations, not just my life, but my kids and my grandkids. And I know I'm far from having grandkids, but it all starts now. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not one day you decide to do these things and everybody listens. They watch your actions. And so just a big thank you for everything you've done for generations of my family, really.
To those who are listening, let's close with that thought. Don't improve your health to get a six pack, although feel free to let that be your milestone number one. Be just like Mitch and do this out of love for your kids and grandkids to establish a legacy of discipline and taking care of your health, and just watch as it blesses their life and elevates every other part of your life. So, Mitch, thanks for your example. Thanks for joining us today, and continue forward with your journey.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.